From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed. Prime Minister Mark Carney will reveal his new cabinet in Ottawa this morning, just 2 weeks ahead of Parliament's return.
Experts say Mark Carney faced tough choices making his new cabinet. He has to pull off a tricky balancing act today. He has several steady hands in key roles managing Canada-U.S. relations during a trade crisis. Faces who also remind Canadians of the unpopular government of former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Carney's cabinet is expected to consist of about 30 members of Parliament, 10 fewer than Trudeau's last one. Around 10 of the new roles will also be junior positions, and about half of the new cabinet is expected to be full of fresh faces. Kyle Duggan, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
Following last month's federal election, a new poll suggests most Canadians don't want the country to end up with the two-party system.
That's after April's federal election turned into a tight race between the Liberals and Conservatives and left other parties trailing far behind. The poll of over 1,600 Canadians suggests only 21% of respondents think the country would be better off with a system where two parties dominate the political landscape. 49% say a two-party system would not be good for Canada, while 30% say they don't know. The poll was conducted days after the election, also suggesting many Canadians don't want to see another election anytime soon. David Bowles, The Canadian Press.
On the trade front, Ottawa's top diplomat in Washington says negotiations with the Trump administration won't immediately address the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement on trade. That's after Prime Minister Mark Carney met with Donald Trump last week in Washington, D.C. Canada's ambassador to the U.S., Kirsten Hillman, says initial talks with Trump's team will focus on lifting tariffs and specific issues between America and Canada.
So dealing with those tariffs and getting Canada into a position where we are finding stability in the trading relationship is our number one priority with the Americans. So there's no discussion to be had with the Americans without that being on the table from Canada's perspective.
Hillman says talks specific to the Continental Trade Pact will take place separately at a later date. Meanwhile, Trump has touched down in Saudi Arabia. The U.S. president is kicking off his 4-day Mideast trip by paying a visit to Saudi's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The two leaders are expected to hold talks on U.S. efforts to dismantle Iran's nuclear program and end the war in Gaza. Later today, Trump is slated to take part in a U.S.-Saudi investment conference and have a formal dinner with the Crown Prince. For the first time in 2 weeks, Hudson's Bay is expected back in court to extend its predator protection time period in an effort to help complete sales processes. And the sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior Hockey team members is set to continue in a London, Ontario courtroom today, where the last defense lawyer is scheduled to cross-examine the complainant. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Adam Henrique scored twice in the first period. Evander Kane had a goal and assist, and netminder Stuart Skinner made 24 saves as the Edmonton Oilers blanked the visiting Vegas Golden Knights 3-0 to take a commanding 3-1 lead in their second-round best-of-7 NHL playoff series. The Oilers can wrap up the series with a win Wednesday in Las Vegas. Jalen Brunson had 39 points and 12 assists. Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns each added 23 points, and the New York Knicks knocked off the visiting Boston Celtics 121-113 to take a 3-1 lead in their best-of-7 NBA Eastern Conference semifinal series. And Julius Randle had 31 points and 5 rebounds. Anthony Edwards had 30 points and 5 assists. And the visiting Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Golden State Warriors 117-110 to take a commanding 3-1 lead in their best-of-7 NBA Western Conference semifinal series. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.